கொடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராரும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செய்ய மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். கொலராடோ தமிழ் சங்கத்தினுடைய இந்த மெய்நிகர் நிகழ்விற்கு உங்கள் அனைவரையும் வரவேற்பதிலே பெரும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகிறேன். இன்று நடைபெறுகிற கல்லூரி திட்டமிடுதல் நிகழ்ச்சியிலே கலந்துரையாடுவதற்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கிற நம்முடைய சிறப்பு விருந்தினர் டாக்டர் ஐயா தேவதாஸ் பாண்டியன் அவர்களை இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு வருக வருக என வரவேற்கிறேன். அவருடைய உரையாடலுக்கு பிறகு கேள்வி பதில் பகுதியிலே ஐயா அவர்களோடு கலந்துரையாட இருக்கிற நம்முடைய தமிழ் சங்கத்தின் யூத் கமிட்டி மெம்பர்ஸ் அனைவரையும் நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு வரவேற்கிறேன். கேள்வி பதில் பகுதியின் நெறியாளர் நம் தகவல் தொடர்பு செயலாளர் ரமேஷ் சம்பந்தன் அவர்களையும் இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு வருக வருக என வரவேற்கிறேன். அடுத்ததாக நம்முடைய சிறப்பு விருந்தினரை நான் அறிமுகப்படுத்த வேண்டும். அவருடைய அறிமுகம் எனக்கு 2 மாதங்களுக்கு முன்பு கிடைத்தது. அவருடைய உயர்கல்வித்துறையிலே அவருக்கு இருக்கின்ற அனுபவம் என்னை மிக வெகுவாக கவர்ந்தது. அவரோடு உரையாடி கொண்டிருந்த பொழுது நம் தமிழ்ச்சங்கத்தின் சார்பாக கல்லூரி திட்டமிடுதல் சார்ந்த நிகழ்ச்சிகளை நடத்துவதற்காக நாங்கள் முயற்சித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறோம் என்று கூறிய பொழுது அவர் தாமாகவே முன்வந்து இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு நீங்கள் ஏற்பாடு செய்யுங்கள், நான் வந்து உரையாற்றுகிறேன் என்று கூறினார்கள். அவர்களுக்கு என்னுடைய நெஞ்சார்ந்த நன்றிகளை கூறிக்கொள்கிறேன். டாக்டர் பாண்டியன் அவர்கள் மதுரை அமெரிக்கன் கல்லூரியினுடைய ஒரு தயாரிப்பு. அங்கு மாணவராக கல்வி பயின்று பின்னர் 1965 அதே கல்லூரியில் கணித விரிவுரையாளராக பணியிலே சேர்ந்தார்கள். 60களில் கல்லூரி பேராசிரியராவதற்கு முதுகலை பட்டம் மட்டுமே தேவை என்கின்ற நிலையிலே எம்ஃபில் படிப்பை முடித்துவிட்டு கணிதத்திலே ஐயா அவர்கள் முனைவர் பட்டம் பெறுவதற்காக ஜார்ஜ் வாஷிங்டன் பல்கலைக்கழகத்திற்கு வந்தார்கள். 1978 அவர் தனது துணைவியாரையும் 2 சிறிய குழந்தைகளையும் மதுரையிலே விட்டுவிட்டு 5 வருடங்களுக்கு பிறகு மீண்டும் சந்திக்கலாம் என கூறிவிட்டு முனைவர் படிப்பிற்காக வாஷிங்டன் டிசிக்கு வந்தார். நம்ம அனைவருக்குமே தெரியும், அந்த காலங்களிலே தொலைபேசி கிடையாது, இணையம் இல்லை, மிக முக்கியமாக வாட்ஸ்அப் கிடையாது. தகவல் தொடர்புக்காக கடித போக்குவரத்து மட்டுமே ஒரு முக்கிய வழியாக இருந்த காலம் அது. பொதுவாக 10 to 15 நாட்களாகும் கடிதங்கள் நம்ம கைக்கு வந்து சேர்வதற்கு. இதன் பிறகு சில வருடங்கள் கழித்து அவருடைய மனைவியும் உயிரியலிலே முனைவர் பட்டம் பெறுவதற்காக டிசிக்கு வந்தார்கள். சில வருடங்கள் கழித்து அவருடைய குழந்தைகளும் அவர் பெற்றோர்களோடு வந்து சேர்ந்தனர். இதை நான் இங்கே எதற்கு குறிப்பிடுகிறேன் என்றால், ஐயா அவர்கள் பல சாதனைகளை செய்திருக்கிறார்கள். இதிலே போராட்டங்களையும் சோதனைகளையும் கடந்து இந்த சாதனைகளை அவர் படைத்திருக்கிறார். முனைவர் பட்டத்தை வெற்றிகரமாக முடித்த பிறகு நாப்பர்வில் இலினாயில் இருக்கிற நார்த் சென்ட்ரல் கல்லூரியிலே கணித பேராசிரியராக ஐயா அவர்கள் பணியிலே சேர்ந்தார்கள். அவரது சிறந்த கற்பிக்கும் புலமை காரணமாக பல விருதுகளை பெற்றார். அந்த கல்லூரியினுடைய அறிவியல் பிரிவை வழிநடத்தும் மிகப்பெரிய பொறுப்பான அறிவியல் பிரிவின் தலைவராக ஐயா அவர்கள் நியமிக்கப்பட்டார்கள். 3 ஆண்டுகளுக்கு பிறகு உயர்கல்வி விவகாரங்களுக்கான துணைத் தலைவராகவும் டீன் ஆஃப் ஃபேக்கல்டியாகவும் நியமிக்கப்பட்டார். 2015 ஓய்வு பெறுகிற வரையிலே இந்த பதவியிலே ஐயா அவர்கள் இருந்தார்கள். நீண்ட காலம் பணியாற்றிய டீன் என்ற பெருமையை ஐயா பெற்றுள்ளார்கள். அவருடைய 30 வருட சேவைக்காகவும் கல்லூரி மற்றும் உயர்கல்விக்கு அவர் செய்த பங்களிப்பிற்காகவும் கல்லூரி நிர்வாகம் அவருக்கு டாக்டர் ஆஃப் ஹியூமன் லெட்டர்ஸ் என்ற பட்டத்தை வழங்கி பெருமை சேர்த்தது. ஐயா அவர்களுக்கு கணிதம் மற்றும் உயர்கல்விக்கு அப்பால் அரசியல் உட்பட பொது வாழ்விலே மிகுந்த ஆர்வம் கொண்டவர். ஐயா அவர்களோடு உரையாடி கொண்டிருக்கும் பொழுது சாதனை படைத்த ஒரு மனிதரோடு உரையாடி கொண்டிருக்கிறோம் என்ற எண்ணமே தோன்றாது. அந்த அளவிற்கு மிகவும் தன்னடக்கம் கொண்டவர். அவரை இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு தமிழ்ச்சங்கத்தின் சார்பாக சிறப்பு விருந்தினராக அறிமுகப்படுத்துவதிலே நான் மிக பெரும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகிறேன். ஐயா வணக்கம்.
தமிழ்ச்சங்க தமிழ் மக்களுக்கு எனது அன்பான வணக்கம்.
ஐயா உங்களை மீண்டும் இந்த தமிழ்ச்சங்கத்தின் சார்பாக இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு உங்களை வரவேற்பதிலே மிகப்பெரிய மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகிறேன். இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியிலே நீங்கள் கலந்து கொண்டதற்கு என்னுடைய நன்றிகளை கூறி விடைபெறுகிறேன்.
தலைவர் சேதுவுக்கு எனது மனமார்ந்த நன்றி. Thank you, President Sethu, for your nice introduction. I want to express my deep appreciation and thanks to you for arranging this talk, thereby providing me with an opportunity to connect with our Tamil Makkal. It would have been wonderful had we been able to make this event in person, but perhaps next time. Working with President Sethu, I came to realize how much work is involved in developing a program like this and executing it successfully. By the way, I watched the last event, Pattimandram, from the start to the finish. I was very much moved, not by the debate per se, though it was fun and enjoyable to watch with the participants doing an excellent job, but by imagining what went behind the scene. I could not fully fathom the amount of time and energy the Tamil Association leadership. When I say leadership, I mean the presidents, committee members, as well as the program participants. How much the leadership is expending on events like this, which directly or indirectly promote Tamil and Tamil culture. 12வது நூற்றாண்டு ஔவையார் திரைக்கடல் ஓடியும் திரவியம் தேடு என்று சொன்னது போல, கடல் கடந்து வந்து, you are all working hard, bring up your children and taking care of your family. Despite your heavy work and family responsibilities, you find the time to be active in Tamil Association. I'm deeply impressed. You are just amazing. Thank you for what you are doing. On the outset, let me state that I will not go into the details and the nitty-gritty of selecting a college or a major, but rather paint a broad picture of higher education landscape as I know it. So I want to alert you that I will not get into the details of that. In fact, everything, literally everything that I am going to say here is available on the internet or the college websites. For the purpose of this talk, I am going to classify the higher education institutions into 4 categories. Community colleges, also known as junior colleges or 2-year colleges. Large public universities with thousands of students. University of Colorado Boulder, UCLA, UC Berkeley, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, University of Virginia, etc. Third, private independent universities such as the Ivy League schools, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, University of Pennsylvania, and other prestigious universities, including examples, Stanford, Duke, MIT, Northwestern, University of Chicago, Johns Hopkins, etc. The fourth one is small private liberal arts colleges, small private liberal arts colleges such as Colorado College. That is in our own backyard. It's a good college. Carleton College, Grinnell, Pomona, Davidson, Williams, North Central College, etc. I want to alert you that I use the terms schools, colleges, universities interchangeably. What I mean by that is sometimes when I say school, I'm not talking about high school. I may mean university. Sometimes I say colleges, universities. So all the three terms are I'm using interchangeably. Also, I want to alert you about another one. When sometimes I address the parents and other times their sons and daughters. The context will tell whom I am referring to. I'll make some brief observation about community colleges. You can get an associate degree from a community college. You can transfer to a 4-year college after 2 years at a community college. You can also get vocational training. You should know that community colleges have open access system in the sense that any student with a high school diploma, regardless of GPA, cannot be denied admission in a community college. Community colleges serve a very useful purpose for local communities with their much lower tuition and fees, open admission policy, and their skill-based vocational training programs. I'm not going to focus on community colleges now, but I'll be open to discuss them during the questions and answers session if you want to talk about them. So let us, as we begin to talk about selecting a college or university, our focus is going to be on 1, public universities, 2, private universities, and 3, small private liberal arts colleges. I assume that parents as well as sons and daughters have a good idea about these institutions. I'm sure that you have some good background, idea about public, private, and small liberal arts colleges. But regardless, I will give a quick review of these different types of institutions. Let me start with the private universities, the Ivy League schools and other prestigious universities. In fact, I don't need to say much about these schools as they are the cream of the crop. Undoubtedly, most parents want to send their children to Harvard or at least one of the Ivy League universities. I fully understand the parents desire to send their children to the best schools in the country. But the reality is there are very many bright students and too few slots available in these top universities. Often I hear from parents that their children were valedictorians in their high schools with the GPA 4.5 out of 4, editors of the school newspapers, played 2 musical instruments, won many awards in extracurricular activities, but still did not get into Harvard or any of the Ivy League schools. I hear that often from parents. But please remember, there are about 24,000 high schools. So we begin with 24,000 valedictorians. Most of these high-achieving valedictorians, if not all, will be naturally good at many things. But Harvard admits only 2,000 plus students every year. Same with other prestigious schools. So we see the conundrum here. While I applaud parents who aspire to send their sons and daughters to Ivy League schools, I will suggest that we should not be obsessed with these schools, however great they may be. There are about 4,000 colleges and universities in this country. Most of them are outstanding schools. A good, self-motivated, disciplined student will shine in any place. A good, self-motivated, disciplined student will shine in any place. Let us talk about public universities. The advantages of public universities are manifold. Wide range of academic choices with a variety of majors and courses. Excellent research facilities, outstanding faculty, a plethora of opportunities for student activities. These universities, especially the flagship universities, are well funded and they have all the resources that they needed. Typically, they will have engineering schools, law schools, medical schools. Because these are public universities funded through our tax money, in-state tuition is lower than that of private universities and even small colleges. You may know that out-of-state tuition is much higher. In fact, at an average of 2.5 times higher than in-state tuition. In our own CU Boulder, in-state tuition, that is if a student from CU, from Colorado, joins CU Boulder, he or she has to pay about $12,500 as tuition. But out-of-state tuition, that is if someone is coming from out of Colorado, he or she has to pay $38,000. Just a piece of information. Public universities look good, especially for in-state students. But there are some big issues. Not big, some issues. Students coming out of high school, which is a very small, close-knit academic community, will find the sheer physical vastness of the universities intimidating. Navigating around university regulations for choosing majors, choosing general education courses and electives will be a big challenge. And students need a strong advising system, which large universities lack. Moreover, though the universities have top-notch faculty, all public universities, well-funded by the tax money, have top-notch faculty, but most of the introductory courses are taught by graduate students, where some of the courses may have class sizes in hundreds. So now let's jump to small private liberal arts colleges. The college campuses are compact, almost like a small villages, with strong sense of community. They have great professors, deeply dedicated to teaching. Class sizes are small, and there are no teaching assistants. Professors will know every student. These colleges have excellent advising systems, so no student will have any difficulty whatsoever in navigating their way around the academic regulations for choosing majors, general education courses, and elective courses. These small liberal arts colleges are good for almost all students. What else these colleges, small colleges, have to offer? Well, most of the small colleges have pre-law, pre-med, and 3+2 engineering programs. Pre-law is if a student is really interested in joining a law college after finishing 4-year degree in a college. These colleges having pre-law program will have a special advisor. So if the student expresses interest in pre-law, that advisor will walk him or her through the 4-year degree program. They will advise which major to choose, which electives should be chosen, what courses they should not take. Because please keep in mind, they have to prepare for the LSAT, which is the law school admission test. They have to prepare for it. So the advisor will help them, walking through 4 years with them and even train them for the LSAT exam. And then after finishing their 4-year degree, oh, by the way, colleges also, those colleges which are pre-law program will also have a collaborative agreement with the law schools. So you finish your 4-year degree in a small college, get admitted into law school, and then proceed with your law program. Same thing with pre-med. So if you go to a college which has a pre-med program, that means there will be a special advisor. That advisor will walk the students through a very narrow path. They have to know which major they have to choose so that they will be successful in the med program. And electives, all those things will be carefully chosen. And also they will prepare the students for MCAT, which is medical college admission test. And the student will be taking them while they are in the college. And they also have a collaborative agreement with some medical colleges. So you finish your 4-year degree, do the MCAT exam test, and then join a medical college and then proceed with your medical program. The third one is engineering, 3+2 engineering program. That's a very interesting concept in this country. For law and med, you have to have a bachelor's degree, but engineering itself is a bachelor's degree. So you finish your high school and then join engineering college. But this 3+2 program means if you go to a small college, which has a 3+2 engineering program, Again, there will be a special advisor. The advisor will tell you exactly what courses he or she should take. And again, these schools will have collaborative agreement with engineering universities. For example, North Central College, where I come from, had agreement with the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, as well as Washington University in St. Louis, two outstanding schools for engineering program. So we had that agreement. So student comes in and then take 3 years. That's all. They stay only for 3 years in the small college. And during that time, the courses they take will satisfy the first 2 years of engineering program. So after 3 years, the student leaves the college and goes to engineering school. And they start with the 3rd year in the engineering program. So 3 years at a small college, leave the college, join an engineering school at the 3rd year, and then you finish only 2 years there. At the end, you get 2 degrees, one from the small college as though you were there for 4 years, another from engineering college as though you were there for 4 years. So you get, in the 5 years period, you get 2 degrees, one from a physics major or math major, whatever that major you do, another one, be electrical, be whatever you choose. So that's about law, med, engineering as far as small college is concerned. Does the small college do anything with PhD programs? What about PhD degrees in the sciences, particularly in the sciences? Do small 4-year liberal arts colleges have any role in this area? Here is a fact that will surprise you. Small liberal arts colleges produce twice as many students who earn PhD in the sciences than other universities. Let me explain what does this mean. Suppose in a given year, there were 100 PhDs coming out of large universities. Remember, small colleges don't offer PhD program. So for PhDs means you have to go to large universities. Let us say in 1 year, there were 100 PhDs coming out of large universities. Out of that, only about 30 plus or minus went to the large university as a freshman. The remaining 70 of them went to small colleges. They joined the small colleges, finished their bachelor's degree, applied for a PhD program in a large university, and then got their PhD out. That's when I first noticed, when I got that information several years ago, I was really surprised. I would have thought that only large universities produce a lot of PhDs, but actually small colleges kind of feed them almost twice as many as large university students. Well, I'll give a personal testimony, which just it's my own experience. Both my children, my son and daughter, went to North Central College, a small liberal arts college in Illinois, for their bachelor's degree in mathematics. North Central College is not a prestigious university in the country. It's not a top class university. It's a good school. It's a small private liberal arts college. And my son and daughter went there, finished their bachelor's degree in mathematics. My son got admission into Johns Hopkins University, and my daughter got admission into Northwestern University. 2 outstanding universities in the country. They are in the top 20, both for their PhD programs in mathematics, and they are both university professors now. By the way, you should also know one thing, that in most PhD programs, if you get admitted, your tuition and fees will be waived, and you will also get an annual stipend. If you get admitted in a PhD program, your tuition and fees will be waived. You don't need to pay anything. Not only that, they will also give you money, annual stipend. You'll be expected to assist your professors as a graduate teaching assistant or assigned to teach a couple of courses at the introductory level. Basically, put it differently, there is no cost involved if you decide to do a PhD program. So we have a decent knowledge about these different kinds of colleges and universities. Then how do we go about choosing one? What do we do? My sense is that students typically send applications to 10 to 15 colleges and universities. That's my own sense. That sounds right. My guess is they group the colleges and universities into 3 categories. When they send about 12, 15 applications, they group them into 3. One is good schools. Another one is ideal schools. Another one is dream schools. And these are my own terminologies. The dream schools are the ones like Ivy League schools, we know that the chances of getting into the Ivy League schools or the dream schools are low, but still we throw a couple of applications in case. Ideal schools, the middle one, are the ones really we want to be in. That's a place we want to get in. If admitted, we will be happy and spend 4 years and then have a degree. But the so-called good schools are safety net schools. Who knows? Even the so-called ideal schools where we are putting in 7 or 8 applications, if something didn't work, we didn't get an admission into that, then we throw a few into the so-called safety net schools in case nothing turns out successfully from the ideal schools. So that's how typically I believe students do that. What criteria we apply in choosing colleges and universities? What do we do? What is that we are looking for? There are many, but among the many, 3 stand out: location, cost, campus culture. There are many, but these are the 3 things that stand out. Location plays an important role, especially among the first generation Tamil families. Parents would like to keep their children as close as possible, especially their daughters. Cost is not what the colleges advertise. That is the sticker price. The real cost will be less based upon 2 things: merit-based, second one is need-based. Merit-based, need-based scholarship you receive from the school. The merit scholarship offer you receive from the college is based upon your academic credentials. Suppose you are an outstanding student, basically you are an Ivy League kind of candidate, best student, but for some reason you don't want to go to an Ivy League school, but you throw your application to a small college. You know what they will do? They will offer you full scholarship. What do you mean by that? You pay nothing. You know why they do that? Because they want to entice you to join their school because you are a brilliant student. So that scholarship depends upon your academic credentials. For the need-based financial aid, colleges rely upon a form you fill out called FAFSA, Free Application for Federal Financial Aid. Even though it's a federal form used for federal grants and federal loans, colleges use this as a guidepost to obtain a clear picture of the parents' financial situation. If I were to guess your financial situation, I'm looking at the parents, I will say that you will not be eligible for federal grants. Perhaps you may be eligible for federal loans. The third item in our list is campus culture and environment, particularly residence hall lifestyle. By residence hall, I mean dormitories. It is important to know what kind of living arrangements colleges have for students who want to live on campus. Oh, by the way, most colleges nowadays require first-year students to stay in the residence hall. In fact, some universities and colleges require even first-year and second-year students require them to stay in residence halls. Please note that residence hall lifestyle in colleges ranges from extremely liberal. Students of opposite gender can share a room. Students of opposite gender can share a room, to relatively conservative, no alcohol, no drugs, men and women in separate buildings. Also keep in mind that many institutions have sororities and fraternities. These are kind of social organizations for women and men. Generally speaking, these social organizations do not have good reputations in this country. At the end, making a decision to join which college is not easy. The challenge for the parents will be bringing along their sons and daughters in the decision-making process. How to balance these important factors: location, cost, and campus culture. How do we put these 3 things? How do we prioritize them? They're all conflicting sometimes. That will be a challenge. Again, my own personal kind of one is your testimony is my son, who is in California, sent his daughter to a small private conservative school in California state, just about 3-hour drive. Daughter to a small conservative school in California, just about 3-hour drive. Whereas decided to send his son to Williams College, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is across the other end of the country. Of course, Williams College, you may not know this, it's the best liberal arts college in the country, in fact, in the whole world. despite the fact that my grandson got into UC Berkeley and UCLA, the top public universities in the country. So here is my grandson, or my son's son, Berkeley, UCLA, top universities in the country, in California, short distance driving, but my son decides to send him to Williams College in Massachusetts, whereas he decides otherwise for my daughter, for my granddaughter. I'm just giving examples about how parents make the choices. Okay, now let us switch topic. How do we go about choosing a major? Higher education in America is unique, exceptional, and expensive. It takes 4 years and about 40 courses to complete a degree program. Why do we need 40 courses to get a bachelor's degree? We don't need more than 13 or 14 courses to master a subject such as computer science, history, political science, or mathematics at the bachelor's level. We don't need more than 13 or 14 courses. That will do it. But then why 40 courses? Here is an amazing fact. Colleges want you to take almost 15, roughly about 15 general education courses. They are called Gen Ed in short, general education courses, Gen Ed courses, not specific to a particular area. A wide range of courses to enhance your writing skills, critical thinking, knowledge of world cultures, communication skills, appreciation of ethics, philosophy, religions of the world, etc. So the colleges expect all the students to spend about 15 above plus or minus courses on these so-called Gen Ed, nothing to do with the major. When I said about, look at this, taking courses in the range of writing skills, critical thinking, world cultures, community, they are not necessarily in the majors. They are all courses available. So they will expect the students to do that. And also not only that, plus now I have 15 courses Gen Ed, plus major is about 13 or 14. Still there are 10 plus or minus courses available. And they are for electives. What a luxury. What a luxury. 10 plus or minus courses electives, 15 courses to make you as a well-rounded person, and then the 10 or 13 are majors to make you as a person who can make some money. You see what I'm talking about? I mean, there are only 10 or 13 or 12 is the one which prepares you as a worker. But the other things are all for different purposes. You take the so-called Gen Ed courses, sometimes they're also called foundational courses. That makes sense. That's the foundation on which you build everything else. You take these courses in the first 2 years. So first 2 years, you'll be rarely taking any major courses. In fact, you may not even declare what's your major. In fact, some schools don't even allow you to declare your major until later part of your second year. So first year, you may have an idea. You know what you are going to do as a major, but you are not allowed to declare it. And not even first year, some places, even in the second year, later part of second year. That said, let us suppose that after discussing with your parents, you have narrowed down your choices of major to, let us say, computer science, political science, or mathematics. I'm just throwing randomly 3 subjects. So what you do is during the first 2-year period, while you are taking those while you are doing this Gen Ed courses, you will also be taking 1 or 2 math courses, 1 or 2 political science, 1 or 2 computer science, because you want to test your continued interest and comfort level before you finally make a decision about computer science, political science, or mathematics. I hope you follow me. Those are the 3. Imagine those are 3 you and your parents have decided. In the first 2 years, while you are doing your Gen Ed courses, you also take 1 or 2 math, political science, computer science. Make sure that you have that interest, and maybe even you are comfortable with your professors. So you do that. In fact, one thing you should know that even after you formally declare your major in a college or university, filling out all the paperwork, you have taken some even advanced level courses in your declared major, you could still change your mind and move to a different major. You know why it's possible? So much electives. There are 10 courses. So you have a lot of room to play with. So even after declaring your major, even after having done a few courses, you will say, no, I don't want mathematics, I want computer science. You can do that because of the electives. In fact, given the electives room you have, some students taking advantage of this flexibility graduate with 2 majors or a major and 2 minors or rarely even 3 majors. That's not impossible. That's not impossible. If you decide to become a lawyer, a doctor, or engineer, fine. You know how to go about. You also know that you can do these professional degree programs through small colleges, choosing relevant majors assisted by faculty advisors for pre-law, pre-med, 3+2 engineering programs. The difficulty comes, if you know you are going to be a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor, then done. There is not much of difficulty. The difficulty comes when you are deciding to choose a major, traditional major, I call them as a traditional major, from among 50 or more available majors in a college. Some universities have 70 or 80. So when you have so many opportunities, then the challenge comes. I'll tell you one thing. Your advisor, your faculty advisor, will tell you that if you talk to him or her saying that I'm struggling choosing a major, that person will tell you that, oh, follow your passion. Follow your passion. Do not listen to your parents' pressure. That's a very common thing I have heard. Follow your passion, and then they will add, don't get pressured by your parents. Generally speaking, it may be a good advice, but not a good one for Tamil sons and daughters. Remember, during the first 2 years, you are exploring, taking classes in different areas. You went into the school or university with the idea of computer science, math, or political science. I gave as an example. But now in the first 2 years, you are taking lots of courses. And then what happens is in the process, you may be fascinated with the music or an art or a communication class. Oh, you fall in love with one of the subjects and you have found your passion. You want to throw away your initial thoughts about majoring in mathematics, computer science, or political science, nothing. You want to, because you have found your passion. That's what your advisor said. I'm not saying anything wrong with the music or theater. Every subject has its own beauty. But my humble advice is don't get carried away and rush to make a hasty decision. Think about all the pros and cons very carefully about this newfound passion. Talk to your parents who know you, your strengths and weaknesses, what is good for you in the long run. Work with them and collectively make a decision. Okay, let us switch gear again. Let us go back to the 40 course requirements for graduation. That means in a semester system, you take 5 courses, right? Each year, 2 semesters, 10, 4 years, 40. So every semester you take 5 courses. Each course typically meets for 3 hours a week. So you take 5 courses. Each course typically meets for 3 hours a week. So you have a total of 15 hours of classes in a whole week. Monday through Friday, an average of 3 hours of classes in a whole day. Wow. 3 hours of classes in the whole day. From morning 8 until 5, you just spend 3 hours in the classroom. Unlike in high schools, where classes are scheduled for you, in colleges, you make your schedule for the classes you want to take. Your final schedule for the fall semester that you have created might look something like this. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 1 to 2. Tuesday, Thursday, 8:30 to 10, 10 to 11:30. That's it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 1 to 2. Tuesday, Thursdays, 8:30 to 10, 10 to 11:30. Look at the free time you have. An immediate problem you face is how to manage this newfound autonomy, independence, freedom. Not a small thing. You have been with parents all these years. Now all of a sudden you have autonomy, freedom. Everything is open. Again, back to only 2 or 3 classes the whole day. But it's not difficult to fill in the 3 hours, fill in the free hours you have in your hand. I'll tell you, it's not going to be difficult. You may say, oh, what am I going to do? I have so many hours available. No, it's not going to be difficult to fill in the free hours you have in your hands, because unlike in high schools, you need lots and lots of time to study. In fact, a rule of thumb is you spend about 2 hours outside the classroom for every 1 hour class you take. So if you take classes for 3 hours, then you are expected to spend 6 hours studying outside the classroom. This 2 hours of study for every 1 hour of class is not a hard and fast rule, but nevertheless, it's a very useful one. Keep in mind, please, that college professors mostly lecture purposely. They don't teach, they lecture, wherein they provide you with just the salient points of a subject matter, leaving lots of gaps deliberately. They don't cover everything. They cover some salient points of particular subject you're talking about, but leaving lots of gaps, expecting you to fill in the holes. Remember, in high schools, you were a passive listener. But in college, you'll be expected to be an active participant, passive listener to active participant, by asking questions, doing research, completing well-designed assignments to fill the holes. Sometimes this happens. You work hard on your assignments, you spend a lot of time, but still in the process, you couldn't complete them because you have some more questions. There's a very useful resource for you: professors' office hours. All professors, especially in small colleges, will hold office hours every week, 3 or 4 hours a week, depending upon how many classes they teach. It will be a sin. It will be a sin not to take advantage of this wonderful resource. You meet your professors in their office and then explain what you have done so far, and then tell him or her where you are stuck, so the professors will help. That's the purpose of office hours. The professor may not simply give you the answer, but may pose more questions, leading you to discover the solution by yourself. So you walked in, you explained to your professors, this is what you have done, and then these are the places you are stuck. But the professor is not giving you the answer. He or she asks more questions, trying to lead you to discover the solution by yourself. Some students get frustrated. They want answers, not more questions. But this is college, not high school anymore. As a wise man once said, while high school is full of answers, college is full of questions. College education is not simply confined to the 4 walls of classroom. Always you have to keep in mind, go to the class, 4 walls, listen to the lecture, take notes, come back. That's not the end of it. Your education is totally incomplete. It's not complete at all if you do not take advantage of what is available outside of your classrooms and then integrate those experiences into your learning process. I call them as veranda experiences. In college campuses, there are lots of opportunities for veranda experiences. They include your professor's office hours. That's an important veranda experience. Library facilities, cultural associations, academic clubs, speaker series, fine arts, theater, sports, etc. Please keep in mind, these veranda activities may seem discrete, almost like they're all unconnected. No, that's not true. They are not discrete. They're all connected. You should be deliberate in attempting to integrate these experiences into your overall learning experiences. They're all for you. You paid for them and use them effectively. Your 4-year academic journey will not be a bed of roses. It's not going to be an easy one. The journey can be best described by the motto of American College Madurai, my alma mater, which reads in Latin, purificatus non consumptus. This means to purify, not to consume. It refers to the power of fire. I love to share the story, a fascinating one for me. I'm sure you have similar stories. When I was a little boy, my father would take me along to jewelry stores where he would buy some jewelry for my mother. Typically, what he will do is he would sell old 22 karat jewelry and buy new ones. He would take me behind the showroom where the goldsmiths were working. Please keep in mind, 22 karat gold is not pure. It has impurities. As a young boy, I stood in awe and shock as I witnessed goldsmiths throw 22 karat old jewelry into fire, that to my mother's. But the goldsmith will do so to remove impurities. Fire does not destroy gold, but purifies it. Likewise, your academic journey in a college or university will be filled with heat and light and the metaphysical fire. This fire will help you build your character, help you live a principled life. If you work hard with the discipline, motivation, and strong desire to learn, if you work hard with the discipline, motivation, and strong desire to learn, taking full advantage of everything the college offers you inside and outside the classroom, then at the end of the journey, end of the 4-year academic journey in a college or university, you will be ready to face the world with the skills and knowledge you need. You will be free, strong like a shining gold. And all the best. Thank you very much. Vanakkam.
நன்றி முனைவர் ஐயா அவர்களே. அதாவது நம்ம அமெரிக்க கல்லூரிகளை பற்றியும் பல்வேறு துறைகளை பற்றியும் அழகாக விளக்கி எடுத்து சொன்னீங்க. அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் நம்ம தமிழ் குழந்தைகளுக்கும் நம்ம தமிழ் பெற்றோர்களுக்கும் நிறைய அறிவுரைகளை எடுத்து சொன்னீங்க. உங்களுக்கு எங்களது மனமார்ந்த வாழ்த்துக்களும் நன்றிகளையும் மீண்டும் ஒரு முறை மிக தாழ்வுடன் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். இப்போ உங்களை அப்படியே விட்டுட மாட்டோம். அடுத்து நம்ம யூத் வாலண்டியர்ஸ் உங்ககிட்ட சில கேள்விகளை கேட்க இருக்காங்க. அதற்கு அந்த கேள்வி பதில் பகுதியை தொகுத்து வழங்க ரமேஷ் சம்பந்தன் அவர்களை அன்புடன் அழைக்கிறோம். ரமேஷ் நமக்கு புதிதானவர் அல்ல. வணக்கம் ரமேஷ். ரமேஷ் நம்ம தமிழ் சங்கத்துல பல ஆண்டுகளாக பல கமிட்டிகள்ல அரும் பணி ஆற்றியிருக்கிறார். ரமேஷ் வணக்கம். நீங்க இப்போ உங்க கேள்வி பதில் பகுதியை தொடங்கலாம். நன்றி.
நன்றி குத்தபிரான். நன்றி முனைவர் ஐயா அவர்களே. I will conduct this session in English. Thank you, Dr. Pandian, and it has been a great pleasure to have you this evening with us. And now, thank you for sharing all the wonderful knowledge and insights that you have, and enlighten the community. And now let's move on to our next section of this evening, where we will be taking questions from our youth volunteers. And as we all know, youth have been, playing a pivotal role in all of the TAC programs, and this program is not going to be any different. And now, with that, let's welcome our youth members. Neha Sethu. Neha Sethu is a senior in Cherry Creek High School. And then Nandan Murugesan. Let's welcome Nandan Murugesan. Nandan is a senior at high school. And Vidura Kumar is a junior at the Prospect Ridge Academy. And Prajin Kumar is a junior at Grandview High School. And Riti Prabhu is a junior at Fairview High School. And Anjana Radha is sophomore at Peak to Peak High School. Thank you for joining this session, kids. Welcome to the program. And now, I hope you have been listening to what Dr. DEVADOSS had to say for past hour or so. Are you ready for questions? Are you ready to ask questions to Dr. Pandian? Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So who wants to ask the first question? Can you please raise your hands? Yeah, Nandan, can you ask your question, please?
Yeah, my question is, I am an athlete for my high school, and I am looking to be an athlete in college too. Do you recommend doing athletics with college together?
There are two parts answer to your question. Being an athlete, I don't know what's the caliber of your level of involvement in athletics, how good you are, I don't know that. But some bright, good athletes are in great demands in colleges and universities. What they do is they will look for good athletes, and then if they find one, they will give you almost full scholarship. It's a constant thing going on in college and universities is they are looking for all the time good athletes. So if you are up to that level of that caliber, then you have a huge advantage compared to many other students because they don't have the skill you have. So that's one. On the other hand, if you say that, no, I don't think I will be that attractive for a college or university, but I want to be still involved in athletics. One thing, as I have said many times in my my brief remarks, it's a matter of, I always use the word discipline. Discipline that's built in my life. If you are a well-disciplined person, you can always balance your time with athletics and studies without any problem whatsoever. I will not discourage you. In fact, back in India, even today, that area of sports is kind of minimized. I mean, people, if a student expresses a lot of interest, he or she will be maybe even looked down. But here, as I said, if you can discipline yourselves and continue to focus on your study and then involve in the athletic programs, I will not at all discourage you. In fact, your parents also should not discourage. But the important point is discipline, discipline, discipline. You have to be disciplined because your main purpose for going to college is to have a degree in academic discipline. So that's a kind of two parts to your question.
Thank you, Nandan, and thank you, Dr. Pandian. And now let's move on to the next volunteer, Riti Prabhu. Can you ask your question?
Yeah, so you talked a lot about choosing majors and kind of how you have some time, but if I just wanted to get started even now, what would you say is the best thing for a high schooler to do in order to sort of determine what they're passionate about and what major they should go into?
So your question is, even while you are in high school, without waiting to get into the college, how do I begin to think about a particular major? Is that what you're asking me? Yeah, that it's a tough one to answer. Because again, it's as I said earlier, professional programs are there: law, medicine, engineering, and then PhD program. That's not professional; that's an academic side. And then after finishing college or university, bachelor's degree, get into a job. I don't know. Maybe I have a different approach for our Tamil sons and daughters, and I hope our people, I say our people, are not going to be simply satisfied with a bachelor's degree, and they should be thinking about something beyond. Most Native American students, what they do is they are looking for a job after bachelor's degree. And in that sense, if you look around, do some research, you will find business, management, accounting, those are the kind of top in the list. Again, I need to be careful. I don't think that should be in the top in your list, but it could be. So it's very difficult. Another piece to that is, I'm sure you yourself would have noticed, and your parents would have noticed, what is your strength? They know you, and you know yourself. You can dismiss a few things, saying that no, this is not going to. It's not going to work for me. Of course, it may be good for me in the long run. My parents may want me to do, but this is not. If you dismiss those things, then there will be left few things open. Then you are in a good position, because if you go to a college or university, that's the beauty about American higher education system. Unlike, again, back in India, even today, I suppose, I could be wrong, If you want to go to American college, you choose your major. Even before you join, you have to declare you want to be a physics major. And then if they have an opening, if they like you as a physics, they will adhere. That's not the case. So the luxury we have in your case is that you can go open-minded with a few choices in your mind. And then once you go there, you take some courses, explore, talk to your advisors. That's how I will proceed. I don't know whether I'm answering your question, but that's the best I can do.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pandian. Let's move on to our next participant, Vidra Kumar. What do you have for Dr. Pandian?
For application essays, what do admission officers look for specifically? Do you have any information on that? Or
so I didn't hear you well. Could Ramesh help me? What's the
Yeah. So the question is, what do admission officers look specifically in your
I see. What do they look for? I have not worked with the Office of Admissions much. My life is all on the academic side. But I can tell you this. One is your academic credentials, back to your GPA. And not only GPA, your GPA might be 4.5 out of 4, but if they look at the courses, they may not be strong courses. GPA is not one good criterion because it might be misleading. I may have taken lots of easy courses and got a 4.5 out of 4, whereas there is another student who has taken all the challenging courses in high school and ended up with a 4.2 out of 4. So this challenging courses person will be given more consideration than the other person. So one is what kind of courses you take in high school, because there are a lot of choices. That's important thing they pay attention to. And of course, they pay attention to nowadays, things are moving different direction. The so-called ACT, SAT, in some place, California, it has already died. I don't know what's the future of that, but that's another area they pay attention to. So those two. And then the essay, which I never understood why they put so much weight on the essay. The reason they put so much weight on essay, look at what I talked about today. Out of the 40 courses, only 12 or 13 are your major. The remaining is all they are building you as a person. They don't want to produce just workers. They want to produce human beings. Producing workers, simple. Producing whole persons, challenge. And therefore the essay comes in. What they're paying attention to is, who are you? What kind of person? What is your ambition in your life? Where you want to take this country or the universe or the whole universe? So the reason they put emphasis on the essay is they want to know what kind of person you are. So it's your credentials, your GPA, your kind of courses you took, the essay you write, and there are other variables also. They all play an important role in getting selected in a university or a college.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pandian. And now let's move on to who wants to ask next question. Neha, what about you? Do you want to ask any questions to Dr. Pandian? Neha, you are on mute if you're talking. Okay, now let's move on to who wants to ask Prajin. Prajin, I saw you raising hand sometime back. Yeah.
Do you have any tools that we can use to find colleges that we might like?
I don't know. No. You're talking about, is there any kind of a program or something where you put in, you just talk about yourself, put all those things, and then it gives you some colleges, universities. Is that what you're talking?
Yes.
Yes,
like that.
I have played with that, but I don't know exactly what are the kinds of tools they have. But I have played with that, and there are some places where they do that. You put in your interest, this, and there are 5 or 6 questions, 10 questions, and then they will immediately, the program is written in such a way, it will give you about 15, 20, or 30 college universities. But I don't have that kind of information in my hand.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Prajan? Awesome. So who hasn't asked any questions yet? Anjana. Anjana, do you want to ask any questions, or has everything been covered? Whatever questions that you were going to ask, if it is all answered, then that's fine. We can move on to.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. I was wondering how much of an impact having a master's degree have like on job opportunities.
In general, it's a general statement, but that could be different from person to person and major to major. Having master's degree adds strength to your portfolio. There is no question about that, because you walk in not only with the bachelor's level of level of expertise on a particular subject, let us say math or chemistry or whatever subject or business, but if you do master's level, that attracts potential employers, saying that, okay, this person has not only the minimum kind of knowledge the person has built in, but also added more. So that's a general statement, but it might vary from place to place. I'll give an example. It's my own personal testimony. To my utter disappointment, I hope my son is not listening to this. I hope my grandson is not listening to this. I was hoping that my grandson, after finishing his bachelor's degree in mathematics from Williams College, which is the top college in the university in the country, I told you, I thought he will naturally go for a Ph.D. program in mathematics. And he did not. And then he said, I'm going to take a gap year. That kills me. I'll tell you, I'm using this opportunity to talk to you all. The gap year is what they say is, oh, Tata or Grandpa, I want to take a year off. I want to take a year off and then see what's going on, and then get back and then do my PhD program. I know at that time it's pure nonsense. The reason is how good intention you may have. Once you take a gap year and then start working and making money and having a car and everything, after 1 year, you ask yourself, why should I do this? Why should I go for a master's program? I'm making a lot of money. I'm doing everything. So the gap year business is something, many professors like that. In fact, they even advise their own children, but I don't. It's my own personal opinion that gap year is only kind of a misleading kind of phrase, but it's a very common phenomenon here. In fact, even after high school, there are some students who intend to take gap year before they go to college. Of course, you can do that in some universities, colleges. You apply, you get admission, you tell them, I'm going to come back after 1 year. That's different because you got admission. You are ready. Everything is done. You are admitted into Harvard or Yale or one of the universities or North Central College. But no, I want to go for a gap year and then come back and do something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So that's a kind of overall general sense on your question.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Pandian. And Neha, I see you just joined the call again. So do you want to ask any questions to Dr. Pandian, or shall we move on? Neha, you are on mute if you're talking. All right. Thank you, Neha. And then thank you, kids. So thanks for joining us. It has been wonderful have you ask directly interact with Dr. Pandian, and I hope you guys have found this session very useful. And most of the time, we take help from you guys for all the TAC programs and stuff. And it is it's very nice to see that you are the direct beneficiaries of this program. So it is good luck and best wishes, and apply off to college soon. Thank you, guys. Now, Dr. Pandian, we have received some questions online, so we can go through these online questions. That would be great help to the community here. So the first question is, what is the difference between studying in community colleges and studying in high school? Which is better for college? So the background of this question, as I understand, is in some of the high schools in Colorado, they offer courses in community colleges. I'm not sure whether that is the intention of the question, but the students have opportunity to take classes at the community college and count them towards their towards their high school credit hours. So I think that is the background of this question. So if you can enlighten us a little bit on that, that would be great.
Yeah, will you please read the question again so that I have an idea exactly how the question is framed?
Yeah, so what is the difference between studying in community colleges and studying in high school? Which is better for the college?
Okay, let me try. I don't quite get it, but this is what I'll share a few things about community colleges. As I said in my remarks, community colleges are 2-year colleges. They give you associate degree. In fact, one of the advantages of community colleges is that you join community college and finish 2 years and then transfer to your 4-year college. It's a standard practice many students do. Finish high school, go to a community college, spend 2 years. Tuition is very low. It's almost nothing because community college means you are in local area. And then after 2 years, you transfer to a 4-year college. For example, in Colorado, you can do a community college and go to Colorado College. The huge advantage for parents and in general parents is that expenses practically, it's nothing. 2 years of almost like a free college education. And then you transfer to a 4-year college. I don't know how many of the parents are following what President Biden is proposing and fully arguing. He wants to make it happen, that make the community colleges free. Like high schools, up to high school, we don't pay even a penny for a high school as a fee. Tuition, we don't pay that. That's taken care of through taxes. Biden is pushing for a free community college education. Many applaud. I'll have some concern about that. I'm not in the applauding side. I applaud them in the sense that instead of 12 years of high school, you can imagine as though 12 plus 2 years, and the 2 years is free. The concern I have on that is that community colleges, as I said, the admission standard, anyone who has an high school degree, regardless of the GPA, can be admitted. So I need to be careful about not kind of coming across as looking at community colleges down. But on the other hand, that's the reality. We all know there is a difference between Harvard and another small college. We say Harvard is the best. So there is a hierarchy. And we accept that. In that sense, in the hierarchy, community colleges will come at the bottom because they don't necessarily have the brilliant or the best PhDs in the country. They don't necessarily go to community college. So the standard-wise, if you put some hierarchy, it is there. But depending upon family situation, depending upon student strengths, many students go to community college and finish 2 years and then transfer to 4-year college very successfully. But that said, in high school, some high schools might say you can take some courses in community colleges. That might be an advantage to the student because the student's now taking college level courses. And that means in the whatever that admissions office is reviewing, they may look at it as a good. The student has finished high school as well as taken calculus 4 or physics 3 or something because they went to community. That's the advantage they have. But in general, that's my overall remarks about community colleges. It's Biden is pushing something very big on that. It's a huge plus for many, but there are some issues because when I say issue, what I mean by that is the best and bright students, the parents might at some point say that, okay, it's free. Why don't I send my son and daughter there 2 years? And whereas that person could have gone to a different tier level college or university. So that's a kind of balancing act.
Thank you, Dr. Pandian. And since we talked about the AP classes, we have received 2 questions on AP courses. So the first course is, I will ask both of them, back to back, and then we can address that. The first question is, how much and in what ways AP classes enrollment and the AP scores play in college admissions? And that's the first question. And the second question is, And you talked in length about how the college courses, credit hours are like 13 plus 15 plus almost like 10 electives, right? So that 13 general education or foundational courses that makes a person as a person, right? And those courses, nowadays there are a lot of AP courses available, right? Like social science, social studies, and literature, and those classes. Would you advise to take those classes, in the high school itself, so that a student can spend their effort, time, and money on much more advanced courses that would help him to get probably, like, for example, like a double major or something like that?
That's interesting. Yes. AP courses are looked upon differently by different colleges, universities. Let me give an example. Again, I'm back to Williams College. That's a top college in the country. And their first mathematics course, you join the department, you go to Williams College, you want to take some math classes. Your first course might assume that you already taken calculus 1, 2, 3. So their level is so here that the very first math course is not calculus 1, is not calculus 2, is not calculus 3. They assume that you already done that. But whereas another college, such as, for example, back to North Central College, they may not assume anything because their level of standards and admission standard and everything so different. So they will expect students to have even taken less than calculus. So they don't assume that students have come with the calculus courses. So they will start with the algebra, they will start with trigonometry, and then they will allow the student to go through calculus 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason I mentioned these two things, they're all connected to the AP courses we are talking about. Again, Williams College may not give any credit for an AP calculus exam a student has taken because they assume they are that kind of students. There is nothing special. Whereas North Central College might say, oh, you have taken AP calculus? What's your score? 4. Okay, good. Then you can skip calculus 1. We will give you credit, 3 hours credit for that. Another college, which is much lower than North Central College, might say, oh, you have taken AP calculus? What's your score? 3. Oh, we will give you credit. So some school will say, we'll give you credit even for 3. Some school will say, no, 3 is so low, 4. Some schools will say, no, we want 5. So it's again back to the different levels of college universities treating this AP courses differently. Back to your double major, that's a very interesting observation. In a not a top level kind of colleges, in a good college, if you go with AP physics, AP history, AP math, AP lots of APs, then what the college does is, okay, 3 for this, 3 credit for this, 6 credit for this. So you already taken 15 credits. You walk in, you already saved 15 credits. That means you don't need to do 40. You need to do only 25. But if you take extra 15, you may double major or even triple major. Again, I'm going to use my own personal testimony, which may be good for our sons and daughters to know. My son took lots of AP exams. He came to North Central College. They looked at everything. They said, okay, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. Instead of majoring in 2 majors, he graduated in 3 years and then went to his PhD program in Johns Hopkins. So there are lots of advantages about AP, but the advantages depend upon which school you are getting into. Top schools will look at it differently than different kinds of schools.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very very eye-opening. Thank you, Dr. Pandian. So the next question that we have received is for pre-med, is a selective/good college better or a college where it is easy for you to score high GPA? So basically, for pre-med, is a good college better or the college which offers a easy which offers easy courses for you to score high enough GPA? Which one is better for pre-med?
Could you kind of expand that? Help me to understand exactly what the question is all about. I'm not clearly getting a sense of what it is. You can decipher it for me.
Yeah, for pre-med,
Yes,
is a selective or good college
colleges.
is
Okay.
better,
Mhm.
or a college where it is easy for you to score high GPA?
Oh.
Yeah, so if you get a
Go ahead, throw some light. You were going to say something.
yeah, so that's the question. So which one is better for pre-med? If I say, let's say a student is taking a pre-med, right? So should he or she select a good college, like a better college with a high standard, or a college where you can score high GPA, which offers easy courses?
One thing, I don't see the connection between those two things, but let me throw some light on it, and I hope it helps the person who asked the question. The high GPA kind of colleges, one should be very careful about, because anytime I go to India, I go every year and give some talks to colleges, universities. The question they always, here back in India again, exams are all not necessarily done by the professors themselves. They're all done elsewhere. Then the grades are all done. But here, every grade is given by the teacher who teaches. So often they ask me, why not professors all given A's, so that all students coming out of National College all gets an A. The problem is the employers are so smart. They know the schools, they know the caliber of a school. The moment they receive an application, the moment it says from which college, which school, they know it exactly. So a student may come out of the school with a 4.0 out of 4.0 valedictorian, whereas there is another person who went to another college, and that person got only 3.5, and the employer might choose the 3.5 person, not the 4.0 person, because the other college, they know by reputation is a very challenging school. So we need to be very careful about not getting a good A's and everything in a particular college, because if you are talking about employers, not only employers, even the PhD programs, if you are going for advanced level, they know about all the colleges and universities. So that's very clear about that. So I don't think there is any advantage whatsoever in attempting to getting into a college where we can get an all A's, A pluses. Back to pre-med, I don't see the connection between that and this, but the pre-med, if someone is genuinely interested in a medical school, then going to a pre-med kind of program college will be extremely helpful, because there is an advisor. They walk you through. They tell you exactly what major will be good. They are with you 4 years. They guide you. They guide you to take the MCAT exam. So if someone is interested in medical, and still want to go to a small college, they can look for a pre-med program, and that's how they will. They have a good advantage because of the advising system. Someone walks you through.
Awesome, thank you. Hope that clarifies some of the things that we're looking for. Now let's move on to the next question. This is an interesting question. So, listening through this, the selection process, looks like a lot of them are, almost like a discretionary, right? I mean, it's, it doesn't matter. Back in India, hey, you take specific set of courses as long as you have grades, maintain grades in it, and it's like, you can pretty much kind of like, the selection process is kind of like absolute, right? Pretty much, right? It's like, you take the courses, you score 100, 100, 100, and you are pretty much guaranteed to whereas in here, it's a lot of them are discretionary. So what percentages, is it, it's kind of like, with discretionary power comes lot of other things, right? So how much, what percentage of selection process is absolute versus what percentage is subject to subjective standards? That's the question.
Are you talking about admission into the college or university?
Process. Yes, admission process.
In the admission process, is that what are you asking me, or someone is asking whether the process is really that? How do I frame it?
It's 100% discretionary.
Yeah, 100%. 100% fair, or there is certain kinds of other things play a role. Is that in a sense?
That's kind of
Okay.
background of the question, I guess.
Yeah. One maybe, as I am coming from an academic side, I may have a bias toward academic education, academic institutions. The reason I start with the saying that is, there is one kind of institutions in this country. I'm talking about not institutions, but not colleges. There are companies, corporations, all kinds of things. I have a lot of faith in academic institutions. Lot of faith. In fact, I will add a statement which I hope listeners will not have huge objection to. That is, in higher education, professors, they're all mostly on the liberal side. Most professors in the college universities on the liberal side. So you find less discrimination in higher education. I'm talking about even in the workplace. As a professor, you find less kind of discrimination compared to non-higher education, private kind of places where you work. The reason I frame that way is, in general, higher education places seem to be fair. They try to be honest because they are really producing citizens for this country, and they are very careful about this. Again, back to India. My criticism about higher education in India is that we produce good workers. We produce skill-based. One may argue that, Dr. Pandian, that's all we need now. That may be true. For next 10, 15 years, we have looked at everything. We need skill-based workers for India to grow. And therefore, we are going to have only skill-based education. That's fine. But we are not producing real good citizens. And whereas here, I talked about the 40 courses, of course, we have the luxury here. We are the wealthiest country in the world. We have the money, we have the luxury. So they can afford to spend a lot of time in making a whole person. The reason I'm saying so many things is back to your question is, they try to be fair, they try to be honest, they try to do the best because they have in their hands, the biggest challenge in their hands is to produce good human beings.
Awesome. Yeah.
They may fail. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone is perfect.
Yep.
But I trust higher education system in this country to do the kinds of things you and I are talking about.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pandian. That's very eye-opening and enlightening. Thank you. Hang on. So next question is, I'm reading this question for the first time, so bear with me for.
Sure, take your time.
I'm receiving these questions like, as we speak. So it's kind of like, where to pause in a sentence and those kind of things I'm getting
Okay.
That's all. So
Okay.
what is the role of volunteering in college admission? What would be the minimum number of hours you would suggest? So what is the role of volunteering in college admission? And what would be the minimum number of hours you would suggest?
I don't know.
Okay.
Number one, I don't fully grasp the question. What do you mean by volunteering in an admission office? Perhaps colleges might say, here is an admission office, you can help us by volunteering, giving your time.
Yes. So no, the volunteer hours. So every when we are applying for the college, right? So my son just went off to college, right? So when we are applying for any college, right? So you have to give your overall personality. You have to your overall personality to the college, right? So one of the things that comes up is, hey, what is the GPA, and then what is your extracurricular activities, and how much of community work or how much of volunteering hours you have put together.
I see.
That's the background.
I understand. Now I understand the question completely, but I don't think I have a good sense of the answer for that question, because I have, it's that will come under the package of who he is or who she is.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. That could be one variable. Someone might have done nothing on the volunteering work, but done something else, on the non-volunteering work, and that might be more appealing to the admissions office. So I don't know. It's a very interesting question, but unfortunately, that's not an area of expertise for me. I couldn't comment on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Pandian. So I think that's all the questions that I have. I think we have reached the end of the program. So with that, thank you again for spending this evening with us and taking all the questions and patiently addressing each and every one of them. And I thank the TAC for giving me this opportunity to participate in this program. So let's, with that, I welcome our Vice President, Radha Rangarajan, to give word of thanks.
Thanks, Ramesh. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியில் கலந்து கொண்டு ஆதரவளித்த அனைத்து பார்வையாளர்களுக்கும் செயற்குழு சார்பாக மனமார்ந்த நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அடுத்ததாக பங்கேற்பாளர்கள், நம்ம இளைஞரணி குழுவிலிருந்து ஆர்வத்தோடு கலந்து கொண்டு தங்களோட கொஸ்டின்ஸை டாக்டரோட கலந்து கொண்டதற்கு, கேட்டுக்கொண்டதற்கு நம்ம இளைஞரணி குழுவில் இருக்கிற அனைவருக்கும் மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். அடுத்ததாக மாடரேட்டர்ஸ், பல ஆண்டுகளாக நம்ம செயற்குழுவில் பணியாற்றிட்டு இருக்கிற நண்பர்கள், திரு ரமேஷ் கூத்துபிரான் அவர்களுக்கு செயற்குழுவின் சார்பாக மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். அடுத்ததாக ஐயா டாக்டர் தேவதாஸ் பாண்டியன் அவர்கள், உங்களுடைய 50 ஆண்டு அனுபவங்களை எங்களோடு பகிர்ந்து கொண்டதற்கு மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். Different types of institutions, different types of courses, how to select a college, how to choose a major, இப்படியாக பல்வேறு டாபிக்ல எங்களோடு பகிர்ந்து கொண்டதற்கு மிகுந்த நன்றி. உங்களுடைய இனிமையான மாலை பொழுதை எங்களோட கலந்து கொண்டதற்கு கழித்ததற்கும் மிகுந்த நன்றி. அடுத்ததாக இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி வெற்றி பெறுவதற்கு பின்னணியில் இருந்து உழைத்த அனைத்து செயற்குழு நண்பர்களுக்கும் மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். தலைவர் சேதுவுக்கும் மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். இது போன்ற நிகழ்ச்சிகள் மேன்மேலும் வெற்றி பெற உறுப்பினர்களாகிய உங்களின் ஆதரவு எங்களுக்கு வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொண்டு இந்த நன்றி உரையை சுருக்கமாக முடித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அனைவருக்கும் நன்றி, வணக்கம்.